1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
All right, it's 10 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. It's now the 24th day of January, and I'm wondering how many of you 25 days ago said, okay, tomorrow I'm going to get serious about losing weight. Tomorrow, on January 1st, this was 25 days ago now, you made a decision, and now you say, yeah, I did say that, Larry, and like 3 days into it, I kind of blew it already, and I'm thinking about that gastric bypass thing that you hear so much about, and I don't know what to do. Paul McKenna might have an alternative idea for you. He is on the phone right now, and he is recognized as one of the world's most important modern self-help gurus. He's a hypnotist. He's a contributor to Dr. Oz, Good Morning America, The Early Show, Ellen, Rachel Ray, and his best-selling book is called Hypnotic Gastric Band. Well, that's one of his books. The new surgery-free weight loss system, and it just sounds like this might have to do with mind over matter. Am I going to go on a limb and guess that? Let's find out if I've got it right. Paul McKenna. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning to you.
Thank you for being on the show with us today.
Oh, not at all. Thank you for having me on the show.
So, did I get anything wrong in the intro, or is it mind over matter?
Well, I was kind of trying to live up to that, actually. Absolutely right. Most people are, falling off the wagon, as it were, week 3 of January. Gym memberships have dropped. People have fallen off their diets. And, what we know from the research is that dieting doesn't really work. In fact, it has a 91% failure rate. But why a lot of scientists have turned on the diet industry is because 70% of people who diet actually end up more overweight when they come off the diet than before they went on it. And so there's a big concern that dieting is actually a big contributor to America's obesity problem. And my approach is different. All your decisions about what you eat, when you eat, and how much you eat take place in the mind. And so my approach really treats the mind like a computer, and we reprogram it. And that, with some behavioral changes, just recently Yale University concluded that weight loss is a behavioral issue. So we're treating it all very differently from how we used to.
So let me compare it to quitting cigars, because about 7 years ago I quit smoking cigars, and Robin will tell you I was not a moderate smoker. I had a lot of cigars. And 7 years ago or so, it was like right between Christmas and New Year's, I decided to stop. Now, it wasn't easy, but the easier than trying to diet is that you could do it all or nothing. It's just like, I'm just going to never do it again. You can't do that with food.
No.
That's right. Very good point. You're absolutely right. You're not born wanting a cigar, but you are biologically programmed to eat. And so right now, you've got probably the world's drug of choice is food. Lots of people change the way they feel by drinking, drug taking, gambling, sex, shopping, and of course, food. And asking people to tough it out, at these weight loss clubs, who, by the way, make their money mostly from selling this low-fat chemical food rubbish that they have, are not really, they're probably well-intentioned, but not really actually working that well. And so we need a new approach. And, when Yale University says, hey, forget the food, it's the behavior, that things are changing. And so there are a number of people who've, picked up my method all over the world. In fact, this book, The Hypnotic Gastric Band, has been a very big hit in Europe. And how it came about was one of the leading researchers in obesity came to me and said, I don't know if you're aware of this bizarre procedure where you hypnotize people, you make them think they've had the band, even though they haven't, and suddenly they all eat less. And I said, well, look, this all sounds like nonsense.
Really?
Gimmick. And he said, well, yeah, he said, well, it appears not. And, he's a very eminent researcher. So I said, okay, I'll look into it. And about a week later, Mehmet Oz called because we were doing a show together, and he said, look, I want to do something on weight loss. But we need something new, and I love appearing on the Dr. Oz show, so I wanted it to be good. Anyway, we got an astounding result with the people that we tried it on, and so I began researching it. And it's very simple. It's a book which explains how the process works, because the real operation costs $10,000, and there are potential fatal side effects. The thing is, though, it actually shrinks your stomach. But it seems that when you're hypnotized and you're told your stomach has been shrunk, weirdly enough, the subconscious mind seems to behave as though it has. And, this is probably because when we get full, we release a hormone, or actually two, PYY and GLP-1. Now, the unconscious mind is either creating more of that or amplifying the signal. So suddenly you start eating and bam, you don't want to eat anymore, you feel full, and you don't feel like you're missing out.
Oh, wow. And we can do this with the book?
Well, not with the book. The book explains it. It's the hypnosis CD that does the actual, really amazing stuff. So you relax into, when you say hypnosis to people, sometimes they get a little nervous because they think it's, spooky. But
right.
Actually been studied in the United States for a long time, in fact, by every university pretty much. And what we know is it's safe and it's really effective with weight loss. And it's just like a sort of meditative state. But in that nice, relaxed reverie, your unconscious mind can begin to make changes in its programming, if you like. So the way you eat is something you learned, in the same way you learned to tie your shoelaces or open a door. And you learned it as a kid, and you've just always done it that way. So what we do is we go to the subconscious mind, and we reprogram the behaviors, the thoughts, and the feelings around food.
And, sometimes people they're not really hungry, their bodies aren't craving anything, but they'll just eat because of boredom.
That's me.
They'll be kind of lost feeling, and then they'll eat out of boredom. How do you keep from snacking in that way?
Well, that's a great question, because you're absolutely right. Emotional eating is probably one of the biggest causes of obesity. And what this does is there is actually a DVD that comes with the book, and it has an amazing new technique. It's developed by an American doctor. It's called a psychosensory therapy, and it's really simple. It's lateral eye movements and the simple touch of the side of your arms. And what this does is produces more delta waves in the brain and makes you feel very calm very quickly. And so, because nobody does my system perfectly, just like nobody does a diet perfectly. But, what a lot of people do with the diet is they go, oh, I've fallen off the wagon, that's it, going to go back to eating chocolate again.
Right.
With my system, it doesn't stop working. You can stop doing it, and then you can start again. So if you're having, exactly as you say, a bad day and you want to emotionally eat, the best thing to do is to put on the DVD. It'll calm you down in a few minutes, give you much more emotional equilibrium, and you'll feel so much better about yourself, so that then you won't need food to change how you feel.
So we change the amount we eat, or do we totally stop some foods? Let's say I've listened to a couple of people speak about losing weight, and sometimes they'll say, I don't eat bread anymore, no more bread at all. Or somebody will say, I don't eat, I eat all, what was the other diet where everybody was eating just meat and
Atkins
diet. They took out all the carbohydrates. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Atkins couldn't even stick to his own diet. He was morbidly obese, and I don't mean to be unkind, but, it's a diet. And if it works for you, I'm pleased for you. But, it's still asking you to starve yourself. And the problem is, when you starve yourself, your body goes into survival mode. And so I'm opposed to that, because decades of research show that since diets have been popular, the world has become more obese. And it's not just me saying it, it's the world's leading research.
It looks like it. Yeah.
It just seems like people want that quick fix, but they don't adjust their lifestyle. I knew when stomach stapling all those years ago was like the first thing to shrink your stomach. I knew a person that had that. They lost like 200 pounds, but then eventually they didn't change their lifestyle. And then when their stomach could readjust it, he just put on weight again. He didn't adjust the lifestyle change.
Exactly. I think you've made a very important point, which is that, if you're treating the symptom, then all you're going to get is a temporary result. And this book is, to some extent, treating the symptom because it's getting people to eat less. But also, the DVD is addressing the core issue, which is emotional eating, which is eating on your feelings. Because a lot of people eat not because, as you say, they're hungry, they're bored, they're upset, and they want to change how they feel. So the DVD will make you feel so good on the inside that you won't need to use food to change yourself on the outside.
So, and I guess just my part two to the question I started earlier was this. When we think about some people who are not obese, who eat everything,
yeah,
but maybe they have smaller portions, and this is, I guess, what you always hear about. They would say this about French people, right? They say in France they can eat all the bread they want or whatever.
Yeah.
So this actually helps us eat less, or does it convince us not to eat certain things, or both?
No, basically the only way to lose weight is to eat less and move your body more. But the way we're doing it at the moment, but trying to do it by willpower, is not working very well because people just can't tough it out, can't starve themselves, and even those people who can. The people that succeed on a diet, they get up in the morning and they're calorie counting and they're worrying. There's no freedom in that. All the thin people I know eat chocolate, chips, pizza, and cheese, but they don't eat it to excess.
Yeah.
Now, people will say, yeah, but they got fast metabolism. Sure, but they didn't starve themselves. And also, metabolism isn't fixed. It's very easy to speed it up. The book will show you how.
The book is called Hypnotic Gastric Band, The New Surgery-Free Weight Loss System. It is written by our guest, Paul McKenna. And if you look at some of his other titles, I Can Make You Thin, I Can Make You Sleep, I Can Make You Confident, Quit Smoking Today, which I conquered that one on my own, thank goodness. I think it was easier, than amending any food habit I have. Change Your Life in 7 Days, and I Can Make You Happy, the other two books that I have the titles of.
When you appear internationally, sir, on shows like Dr. Oz and Ellen, and you're talking to the hosts, there's always people in the audiences. Do you ever hear any kind of statements like, well, I've tried everything and I just can't? What do you say to those people?
I think that's a great question. I would say this is exactly the sort of person that I'm trying to talk to, because I came from an overweight family. I've worked in this area for 25 years. I don't need to write another book or do anything else in my life ever again. I get up each day and I'm excited about helping people with solutions to their everyday problems. What digital technology has allowed us to do is to help more people, because if I'd sat and just worked one-to-one with people, I'd have helped a few thousand people in my life. Now instead, through iPhone apps, books, downloads on iTunes, you can get all of the things that I do. The stuff you can get on iTunes is like a personal session with me. And so people say to me, I've tried everything and nothing's worked. And I say, in that case, please give this a go. It's, the operation's $10,000.
Yeah, right.
And it's risky. If you wanted your teeth fixed, you'd go to a dentist. If you wanted your car fixed, you go to a mechanic. If you want your mind reprogrammed so you think and feel differently about food, go to a good mind programmer. I consider myself to be good at that. I really try very hard. My heart and soul is in these books and CDs. So, I do hope if you haven't succeeded in the past, this will be able to help you.
I think the people all have freedom of choice, at least in the United States, and there's such a big push by the U.S. government to crack down on fast food restaurants, to crack down on size of containers that you have your refreshments in. And they're really, I think, being detrimental to the people that really want to change their lifestyle and eat healthier by just trying to make them feel guilty that they shouldn't even go to fast food restaurants. I really think that the government is one of the major cause of the obesity issue, because they're just trying to dissuade the American public by doing what they want to eat, like you're telling the people to do.
Well, I want to say to you, if you're overweight, it's not your fault. It's not. It's the fault of your programming. And all it is a habit. As a kid, you learned how to tie your shoelaces, you learned how to open a door, and you learned how to eat. And if you learned it, you can relearn it. And that's what this book, CD, and DVD will help you do.
There you go. Oh, great advice. Paul McKenna, thank you for being on the air with us. Thank you for putting this program together. Has it been around long enough that you've had feedback from some readers?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there are 500 reviews on British Amazon, and they're all 4 or 5 stars. I mean, it's been a phenomenon. And, my other weight loss system, the one that's more based in behaviors, is the biggest selling self-help book in British history, and has sold, I think, something like 3 million copies around the world. And so, when I started down this road years ago, saying, hang on, it's not the food, it's the way we relate to it, it's the psychology. I was a lone voice in the wilderness, and now there's an army of doctors behind me saying, McKenna's right, actually. We need to actually change the way we think and act around food. And
it just rings true. When I listen to you explain it the way you did, it just makes all the sense in the world. And putting something back on track thought-wise is probably the key to so much. So they say this about anybody with any kind of an issue, or somebody who's not sociable, wants to be a little bit more outgoing. Sometimes they go through that.
And one of the other operative words that you used was the word move. That's very important.
Yeah. Well, I think you've asked me some really interesting questions, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity, to answer those, because a lot of people are skeptical about.
Yeah.
And I would say if you're skeptical, that's okay. I'm skeptical as a person. In fact, we find that most people that this system works for are skeptical. But if you don't give it a go, you'll never know. And I think it's something that will work for most people most of the time. We know it doesn't work for everyone, but it works whenever we test it on 7 in 10 people.
Wow.
Right. Wow. The book, again, Hypnotic Gastric Band. Paul McKenna is the author. Your website, what is your website?
I'm paulmckenna.com.
Easy enough, paulmckenna.com. And you already mentioned it's on Amazon, so I'm guessing it's everywhere books are sold, correct?
That's right, yes. All good bookstores. So if you go there and they don't have it, they're a bad bookstore.
And where are you right now? Where are you calling from?
I'm in Los Angeles. I'm British, but I live in Los Angeles. Sorry, my voice is a bit hoarse, but I've just been promoting another book in the UK, and I think my publishers are trying to kill me.
So you got a lot of phone interviews.
When an artist dies, his work becomes more valuable, and I think that's probably what they're up to. But anyway,
there you go.
I really appreciate you giving me the time to talk to your audience today and explain what it is I'm trying to do.
Thank you for doing it. I think you're changing the world for the better. That's an awesome thing with this book and with the other books that we were talking about briefly. Again, Paul McKenna, thank you so much for being on the air with us today.
Not at all. Thank you. I really appreciate it. God bless you.
Thank you. We'll take a little break and be right back.
Today in Florida Ag News on the Southeast AgNet, well, another day, another report about the Farm Bill. But at least this one is bringing some possible good news. As National Cotton Council's Gary Adams says, we could see a bill ready for full committee as early as this weekend.
As we look at where the process is, we've probably got at least reason to be as optimistic as ever in terms of them getting down to those final issues. And I do think there's an urgency there to try to get something out maybe by the 25th, 26th, or certainly by the 27th. So the House can perhaps address it before they go on their Republican retreat. If not then, though, I think hopefully things can come together by the first week of February. But it seems like we're getting close to the finish line.
Of course, that is just the next step in the multi-step process, as Adams notes.
It could be the early part of February before the final votes are taken. Hopefully, though, we'll at least see what the product is in late January and then try to get to a conclusion in early February.
As Adams does say, there is a renewed sense of urgency in order to avoid another budget fight.
They get into another budget cycle if we get too far into February, and that means there will be a new baseline. They'll have to go back and rescore it against that baseline, and anytime that score changes, then that would open things back up to have to go back and look at the policies that are in place. So there's, I think right there, a strong incentive to get it done while we're still working off of last year's baseline.
And of course, when the Farm Bill is finally completed, then we'll start the education process. As one thing we are for sure of is the new farm legislation will contain significant changes from what growers are accustomed to working off of.
As beef and dairy producers, we are committed to producing the safest, highest quality food for folks here in the U.S. and around the world. This is Baxter Black, here to remind you that your Beef Quality Assurance Program plays a big role in leading the way to identifying the best practices, like cattle handling techniques, to produce safe, wholesome beef from pasture to plate. So learn more by visiting bqa.org. Paid for by the Beef Checkoff.
Julie McPeak with Southeast AgNet.
Habitat for Humanity of Marion County is a ministry dedicated to improving lives by providing affordable and decent housing. Help them help others by visiting the Habitat for Humanity Ocala home store on Northwest 27th Avenue. To schedule a donation, give them a call and they'll come and pick it up. For more information, visit habitatocala.org. Habitat for Humanity of Marion County, building homes, building hope, building community.
Here's what you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
Did you know when it comes to getting a job today, a tweet has become the new resume? For most hiring managers, Twitter is key to interaction. Body language communicates emotions much more effectively than facial expressions. Tilt your head if you want to show you're interested, or lean forward if you're sitting, and don't cross your arms. If you have a job interview coming up, then wear a suit, even if you're interviewing for a job at McDonald's.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss.
Thank you very much. 28 minutes before 12 o'clock, Brianna is on the phone from Jerry's Point of Gun, and for some reason I didn't hear her in my headset when we were talking off the air. Good morning, Brianna.
Good morning.
Where is she?
She's at Jerry's Pawn and Gun.
Yeah. Let me see if I did something wrong over here.
Okay.
All right, I don't see what I did wrong. Brianna?
Can you hear me now?
No, I hear you on the phone. I just don't hear you on the air.
Do I have to push that red button again? Maybe I pushed it twice or something.
Are you there, Brianna?
You now.
I did it wrong. I pushed it twice.
I have no idea how that works. It's I've never worked the phone before.
No.
Do you know what today is? Today is International, I mean the whole world, wink at someone day.
Really?
Yeah.
Good to know.
This was a wink at somebody.
That way if somebody winks, I'm not like, excuse me?
Oh, that's funny. You know how it started?
How did it start?
1907, the guy who started the Kellogg's Cornflakes.
Oh.
I can't remember his name. We talked about it this morning. Oh, here it is. It's Will Keith Kellogg. He had one day where he was going to give away boxes of cornflakes for free. But he didn't want to tell anybody that. What he did, he put an ad in the paper that said, "Ladies, wink at your grocer on Tuesday and see what you get."
That could have been scary.
Yeah. And so when Tuesday came, and I guess back then in 1907, grocery stores were not like gigantic supermarkets like we have now.
Yeah.
So the ladies would go in and wink at their grocer, and he'd give them a free box of Kellogg's cornflakes.
Wow.
And then she would either say, "Oh man, that's it," or "Yay, I got a box of cornflakes." How'd you get the free box of cornflakes? I winked at the grocer.
Yeah.
Really? So today's.
It'd be kind of funny if a guy went in and winked at the grocer.
Oh yeah. or if a fella came in and winked at Jerry, that wouldn't be good.
That would be scary as well.
So we've been posting photos on our Facebook page of us winking, and it's also National Product Placement Day, so we're making sure to put the WOCA logo in our photos.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
It's every day. It's also Elvis Presley's. No, it's the day he recorded Teddy Bear.
Oh, okay.
It's also the date that the Eskimo pie was patented.
Oh
my goodness!
Who knew you patented an ice cream sandwich?
That's right.
Very interesting.
So how's everything over at Jerry's Pawn and Gun?
Oh, everything's going great. It's been a beautiful day, and we've been busy, and it's been really good.
And we're just lucky to be able to speak to you because you've been so busy. A couple times Robin has called and you're with customers.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, that's a good
you
thing.
guys.
That's a good thing, right? Not that we didn't speak.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
So what is the biggest? It's got to be the guys that have the most questions about jewelry. Am I right? Because they don't know. They don't have a clue, right?
Either that, or they don't ask any questions at all, and they think they know what they're doing, and they pick it out and say, "That's what I want."
Oh, really?
Oh, gosh.
But
See, I would
they
do
do
that.
ask a lot of questions. They do.
So let's see. The Valentine's Day's coming up. We talked about that the other day. Robin's husband was in here showing his gun to Joe today.
Oh, all right.
I believe he got his gun. Didn't he get his gun from Jerry's?
Yep.
I think so.
Yep, he did.
So a gun left your premises and came into this studio today.
Very cool.
That's right. They have stuff in common.
Very cool.
Yeah, because as we mentioned, Joe wants to get a gun for his
Concealed weapon.
bike riding. He's got the concealed
That's
weapon, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Right.
Yeah. So that's
We
pretty
have
awesome.
plenty to choose from, especially some, that fit in the pocket or a holster in your pocket. Since you said he'll be riding it on a bike.
Yeah. Brianna, what is the thing? You mentioned it once before, and somebody asked about it, and I'm never going to remember it if you tell me, so I'll have to write it down. You talked about how you can change the color of a gun. It's got a name?
Yes, it's called Cerakote.
Cerakote. All right, let me write that down. How do you spell that?
Cerakote.
Okay. And is it like shiny? What is it? It's not paint. It's
You can make it whatever you want. For example, we have a color swatch in the back gun room, just like you would go to the paint store and get all different color swatches. There's so many colors to choose from, and once you pick a color or two or three, then you would say, well, I want it done in tiger stripes, or I want this saying on it, or I want these hearts on it,
Oh,
or
really?
I want, whatever it is you want, he will follow it to an exact T.
And is it like a shiny finish or something?
Some of them are shiny, like a gloss finish, and some are like a rough finish. It just depends on what you want.
So is it exclusively for guns, or could I bring in anything made out of metal?
I believe they do it on knives. They do it on other things as well, but we pretty much do it only on guns.
Okay.
I think he's done a knife, though.
I couldn't do it on my guitar.
No,
No.
I don't think so. I don't think so, but I'm not 100% on that either. So.
I was just thinking, or my accordion. I was thinking about a big LW on my accordion, but then I thought, oh man, Lawrence Welk did that, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. You got to change your name.
It's bad enough I'm as dorky as I am. I don't want to make myself dorkier,
Are the spring fashions coming in now?
Not quite yet. We still have plenty of winter stuff, and it seems to be flying out as well. But the spring stuff should be coming in soon.
Are all of your boots still insulated on the inside, or can we get boots that are non-insulated?
I
for
have
the heat?
both.
Oh,
I
okay.
have insulated and non-insulated, and the boots are on sale, as well as the SWAT boots for like the correction officers, or some people just like that look anyways. We've got the tan tactical boots or the black tactical boots. We have ladies, and that's all on sale right now. And the Boggs boots are 20% off right now. Those are the ones that have some insulated boots and snake boots.
Oh, okay. Yeah, those snake boots are really, really, you really have to have that.
Oh, yes.
A lot of people don't realize that. Even if you're just a hiker in the woods, sometimes it's good to have those.
Snake boots.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
One day, I hope I never wish I had them. I hope I never say, gosh, I wish I had snake boots. Because that would mean either I got bit or I'm about ready to walk through someplace with lots of snakes and I'm thinking, man, why didn't I get those snake boots?
Uh-huh.
Has that ever happened to anybody? Have you ever done that?
Not myself, no, but I've had customers come in and say that they walked in an area that was infested with them, or and they had to get out, and they had to go in this area for whatever reason it was, their business or whatever. And they come in here and they're like, "Do you have any snake boots?" And we've got 3 styles to choose from, so we've got plenty of snake boots.
And just hope they work.
Oh yes, they do work.
They work. Yeah. And do they go high enough, or do snakes not jump that high?
People say they don't bite up like at the knee or above,
right.
But I'm not taking any chances.
No.
There you go.
No.
I don't blame you.
So,
do you have?
Are they cool looking? Oh, maybe I just get some just to wear around.
Yeah.
They're camo.
They're camo.
There you go. New look.
See, I should get this for myself.
You should.
You got my size? I got big feet.
I've got big feet boots, yes.
Get some camo snake boots. Get a gun. Get a learner, not a learner's permit, but a concealed weapons permit.
Mm-hmm.
There's no learning curve on a gun, right?
There's no learn. Well, you do need to learn your gun. You need to learn how to shoot. You need to learn how to take it apart and clean it. That kind of stuff.
That's the problem I would have. I'd never take it apart and clean it.
Oh gosh.
I would have it 6 or 7 years, and here comes the bad guy, and nothing works.
Yeah, the bullet wouldn't leave the chamber then.
Well, and if you don't know how to clean it, if anybody has a gun out there that they don't know how to take it apart and clean it properly, bring it into Jerry's, and we can do that for you. We offer that service.
Well, that's a really great idea.
Absolutely.
Sometimes the agriculture classes, they have those gun training classes for the students as well. Do you do something like that?
We don't have that here, but typically when it comes time, we do have the brochures that show, where to go and who to call and what ages can come, that kind of thing.
Oh, that's wonderful. You are all-encompassing, Brianna.
All right, Brianna, it's always great to talk to you. Go to Jerry's Pawn and Gun, see Brianna, get a gun, get some snake boots.
Yeah.
Get some spring fashions or some winter fashions.
And some bogs, because bogs are cool looking.
Bogs.
And if you need a little bit of money as well, we do pawns, we buy gold, jewelry, coins, guns, you name it.
There you go. And where is Jerry's Pawn and Gun, Brianna?
We're located on Highway 441 and Northwest 8th Street in Ocala, so just north of 40.
And what is your phone number?
Our phone number is 622-3780.
And remember, any specials associated with WOCA? Can they say our name and get a deal?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Oh, good.
Absolutely.
Good. And then put your hands on your hips and say, "Where is Brianna?"
There you go.
And wink at her today.
Yeah,
oh, my.
It's okay today. Today, don't do it tomorrow. Because
today only.
Don't forget, Jerry and Kevin have big guns and they're very protective of Brianna.
Yes, they do.
But today, they're going to look the other way because it's not International Wink Day. Brianna, thank you so much.
Be fun. Thank you. Have a great day.
All right. We'll take a little break and have fun with Joe. We'll be right back.
Today in Florida Ag News from the Southeast AgNet, well, another day, another report about the Farm Bill. But at least this one is bringing some possible good news. As National Cotton Council's Gary Adams says, we could see a bill ready for full committee as early as this weekend.
As we look at where the process is, we've probably got at least reason to be as optimistic as ever in terms of them getting down to those final issues. And I do think there's an urgency there to try to get something out maybe by the 25th, 26th, or certainly by the 27th. So the House can perhaps address it before they go on their Republican retreat. If not then, though, I think hopefully things can come together by the first week of February. But it seems like we're getting close to the finish line.
Of course, that is just the next step in the multi-step process, as Adams notes.
It could be the early part of February before the final votes are taken. Hopefully, though, we'll at least see what the product is in late January and then try to get to a conclusion in early February.
As Adams does say, there is a renewed sense of urgency in order to avoid another budget fight.
They get into another budget cycle if we get too far into February, and that means there will be a new baseline. They'll have to go back and rescore it against that baseline, and anytime that score changes, then that would open things back up to have to go back and look at the policies that are in place. So there's, I think, right there, a strong incentive to get it done while we're still working off of last year's baseline.
And of course, when the Farm Bill is finally completed, then we'll start the education process. As one thing we are for sure of is the new farm legislation will contain significant changes from what growers are accustomed to working off of.
As beef and dairy producers, we are committed to producing